My name is Lucas Merritt, 39 years old. I've been a long-haul trucker for over 15 years. Most people think this job is just about transporting freight, but it's really about solitude. Endless roads, unpredictable weather, and time, too much time to think. I've hauled through every state west of the Mississippi. I've seen jackknifed semis on black ice, been flagged down by women bleeding from car wrecks, and even once witnessed a deer get split in two by a passing rig. I've lived through it all, but I never felt what true fear was, not until that October night, on a stretch of I-40 where the desert eats the horizon and nothing feels real anymore. It started like any other trip. I was hauling auto parts from Wichita, Kansas to a distribution center outside Fresno, California. I left at dawn, planning to sleep overnight just before Flagstaff. The sky turned molten orange at sunset, and by the time I hit the Arizona line, it was just me, my rig, and the desert. By 9:45 p.m., I was somewhere between Holbrook and Winslow, a dead zone where even the stars seemed to vanish. My CB was silent, and the FM dial offered nothing but static. The darkness outside was unnatural, heavy, almost oily, like it was pressing up against the windshield. Then I saw it. A black sedan parked crooked on the shoulder up ahead. No hazard lights, no flares, just sitting there like it had been dropped from the sky. At first I thought it was abandoned, maybe someone got picked up already. But as I slowed, I noticed a figure beside it. A man, maybe late 30s or early 40s, waving his hand at me, slow and deliberate, not frantic, not panicked. Calm. Everything in my gut screamed, "Don't stop." I've ignored gut feelings before. It cost me a finger once. So I slowed to a crawl. He was wearing a hoodie under a black jacket, hands buried deep in the pockets. His face was shadowed by the brim of a ball cap. When I rolled down the window a crack, he stepped closer. "Car died," he said. His voice was low, like it hadn't been used in days. "No cell signal. You headed west." I hesitated, looked at the road, looked at him. "Yeah," I said finally. "You trying to get to a town?" "San Bernardino," he said quickly. "That was a good 6 hours from where we were." "You can ride with me up to Flagstaff," I said. "I'm stopping there." He didn't argue, didn't ask for more, just nodded. I reached across and unlocked the passenger door. He climbed up silently, boots thudding against the metal steps. I didn't know it yet, but the second he shut that door behind him, my fate was no longer mine alone. He introduced himself as Eli. No last name, no handshake. He stared straight ahead, never even glanced at the dashboard or the road. His posture was rigid, like a statue wedged into a seatbelt. I offered him a bottle of water. He didn't take it. I cracked a joke about desert roads and horror movies. Nothing, just that same forward stare. "Where were you headed in San Bernardino?" I asked. "Family stuff," he muttered. He didn't blink much, didn't shift in his seat. The kind of guy whose stillness isn't peaceful, it's coiled. I flipped the radio on. Static. Switched to downloaded podcasts. A true crime story started playing. Something about an unsolved desert killing. I quickly shut it off. The irony was too much. Miles passed in silence. Every once in a while, I'd glance at his hands, still jammed in those coat pockets. That's when the fear started to slither in. I told myself, he's just cold. But something about it felt wrong. Like he was holding on to something. Something metal. Something sharp. I watched the signs pass. Meteor Crater, Twin Arrows, Winona, counting down the miles to Flagstaff. 18 more. I could make it. That's when he spoke again. "You ever see someone get killed?" His voice startled me. Gravelly. Dry. I blinked, trying not to react. "I've seen bad wrecks. Once saw a biker get crushed between two cars." He smiled. Just a twitch at the corner of his mouth. "Accidents are different," he said. "No one meant it." I mean real killing. Up close. Quick. No screaming. I swallowed hard. Can't say I have. Eli leaned his head back slightly, eyes never leaving the road. It's quiet. Like flipping a switch. I didn't answer. I didn't know how to. The cab had become an icebox. I cranked the heat. My palms were sweating. Then a flash of headlights. A semi passed in the opposite direction. As its lights swept my rearview mirror, my stomach turned. I saw something. I know I did. The black sedan, still parked on the shoulder. Only now the windshield was cracked open like a spider web, and the hood was streaked in dark red. My heart kicked into double time. That wasn't just déjà vu, it was the same car. But we'd passed that thing 30 minutes ago. I looked again. Nothing. Just blackness. I turned to him slowly. That your car back there? He didn't respond right away, just tilted his head slightly. It was never mine, he said quietly. You told me it broke down? I pushed. It wasn't mine, he said again. Not anymore. There was no panic in his voice. No emotion at all. Just a statement. That's when I realized I wasn't dealing with a stranded motorist. I was carrying something much darker down that road. I sped up. We were 5 miles from the rest stop. My throat was dry, my legs tense. I picked up my phone and pretended to check the GPS. No signal. I switched to video mode and quietly angled it toward him, letting it roll. Lights from the Redstone Travel Center came into view. I pulled into the lot near the pumps and turned to him. I'm gonna hit the restroom. You good? He nodded. I'll wait. The second I rounded the corner, I ran, not to the store, but to a rusted payphone near a fence. Deadline. When I turned around, Eli was standing outside the truck, watching. His hands were out now, empty, but the way he stood, calm, poised. It told me everything I needed to know. I sprinted to a pickup parked nearby and pounded on the window. Please, help, call the police. The driver, an older man, jumped and dialed without hesitation. You all right? He asked. Not yet, I said, glancing at Eli. He was walking toward us. Slowly. Not a word. Not a weapon. Just presence. 15 minutes later, 2 state patrol cruisers rolled in. Eli raised his hands. I'm not running, he said. Just show me the recording. They searched my truck. Found my phone still filming. The audio was chilling. His tone. His words. That sick amusement in his voice. Later that night, they found a body in the trunk of the black sedan. Stab wounds. No ID. I was cleared, given time off. But a month later, a call came in from Detective Harmon, the officer in charge of the case. He confessed, he said. The man in the trunk was a former friend. But that's not what he cared about. What then? I asked. He said, I needed one person. Just one. To remember me. To prove I was real. I thought I was the survivor of that night. But I was the audience. My name is Ray Bowman, 44 years old, and I've been a long-haul trucker since my late 20s. I've spent more nights in my cab than in my own bed, watched hundreds of sunrises from behind bug-streaked windshields, and eaten more meals out of vending machines than I care to admit. Trucking isn't just a job, it's a strange kind of exile. You learn to live with silence, isolation, and the occasional flicker of beauty in the blur of road signs and diner lights. But nothing about this job prepared me for the night I crossed into the Appalachian Mountains during a freak April snowstorm. I was hauling a trailer full of high-end server racks from a warehouse in Newark, New Jersey, to a tech logistics center in Fort Collins, Colorado. It was a contract I'd done before, decent money, tight delivery window. The further west I got, the nastier the weather turned. By the time I hit western Maryland, the flurries had turned into a full-blown squall. Snow in April isn't unheard of in these mountains, but this was different. The kind of thick, blinding snow that feels like it's trying to smother everything it touches. The interstate turned into a narrow white ribbon winding between black hills. My wipers groaned under the weight of buildup. And the worst part? No plows, no taillights, no headlights, just me. Around 10:30 p.m., low on both diesel and nerve, I spotted a dim glow up ahead, a lone gas station with its canopy lights flickering like a dying heartbeat. I pulled in, tires crunching over frozen gravel. The place looked like it hadn't seen business in weeks. One rusted pump, a bent satellite dish. The front window fogged over from inside. I parked beside the building, grabbed my thermos, and stepped out. The wind hit like knives. Snowflakes the size of quarters swirled through my headlights. The station's door creaked when I opened it, and a little brass bell jingled like it was announcing a funeral. Inside, a single old clerk sat hunched over a radio, eyes closed, mouth slightly open. The smell of stale coffee and cigarette ash hung in the air like it had been living there for years. I filled my thermos from the lukewarm machine, tossed a few bucks on the counter, and stepped back out into the storm. Then I saw him. At first, he was just a shadow moving behind the layer of frost on the window, tall, lean, bundled in a dark hoodie with a military-style coat over it. He didn't knock. He didn't wave. Just stood there until our eyes met. I flinched. He pressed his hand against the glass, palm open, fingers splayed. I opened the door a crack. "You all right?" I asked. "My car died a few miles back," he said, his voice hoarse and raw. "No cell service. I've been walking a long time." He was shaking. His lips were pale. His boots were caked with snow and something else. Oil maybe, or blood. I didn't want to stare too long. "You got anyone you can call?" I asked. "No phone. Battery's shot. Please. I just need a ride as far west as you can take me." I should have said no. I wanted to say no. Every instinct buzzed like a live wire. But looking at him, he didn't look dangerous. He looked worn down, beaten by the cold, and maybe something else. I checked my surroundings. Empty lot. No working security cams. Clerk still asleep. I sighed. "Where you headed?" "Colorado," he answered without hesitation. I nodded slowly. "I'm going that way." "Get in." He didn't thank me, just walked past me and climbed into the cab like he'd done it 100 times before. The second that passenger door slammed shut, I felt it, like I'd just sealed a door that should have stayed open. We didn't talk for a while. He sat slouched in the seat, coat still zipped up to the neck, steam rising off him. I offered him the rest of my coffee. He waved it off. "What's your name?" I asked. "Eric." "Ray," I replied. "We'll make a few more hours tonight, then I'll stop for some sleep." He just nodded. No follow-up. No questions. Just silence. I turned on the radio, just in time to catch a local news bulletin. A manhunt is still underway for Eric Lorne, 31, believed to be armed and extremely dangerous. He is the primary suspect in the fatal shooting of a highway patrol officer near Rockford Gap. I snapped my head toward him, heart suddenly jackhammering in my chest. Eric didn't flinch, didn't even look at the radio. "You from around Rockford?" I asked, keeping my voice calm. He didn't answer, just stared out the windshield. "You all right, man? You look like you've seen ghosts." "Maybe I have," he muttered. I tried to laugh it off. "You're not that guy on the radio, are you?" Still no response, just a twitch of the corner of his mouth. That was when I noticed a length of paracord in his hand. He'd been twisting it slowly in his lap, like he was tying and untying knots. He caught me staring and tucked it back into his pocket. "Long drive," he said softly. "Mind if I rest my eyes?" I shook my head. "Be my guest." He leaned back in the seat and shut his eyes, but I knew he wasn't sleeping. His breathing stayed sharp. Awake sharp. Controlled. By midnight, I had driven far enough to reach a rest pull-off in a valley pass. Not much there, Just a busted vending machine, an outhouse, and an old picnic table under snow. I parked the rig and said, "Gonna catch some sleep. You good to rest here?" He shook his head. "I'll get out here. Someone's meeting me." "There's nothing around," I said. "They'll find me." He stepped down onto the snow-covered lot, his boots crunching into the ice. That's when I noticed it, a streak of red on the hem of his coat. Blood? Mud? He walked past the outhouse and vanished into the woods behind it. No light, no flashlight, just gone. I locked the doors, turned the heat up, and tried to convince myself I'd just given a ride to a strange, quiet man who was having a rough night. Then morning came. I scrolled the news with a shaking hand. Every single local outlet carried the same story. Eric Lawrence still at large, suspect in fatal shooting, may have evaded authorities in Appalachian corridor. The face in the mugshot was unmistakable. It was him. I had just spent 4 hours sitting 2 feet from a wanted killer. I called the local sheriff's office immediately. Deputies showed up an hour later. They questioned me, watched the dash cam footage. It didn't capture much, just shadows, his voice, and my own tension mounting with each mile. They told me I was lucky. Lucky I didn't press him. Lucky I didn't challenge him. Others hadn't been that lucky. Over the next 48 hours, Lorne fled through 3 states, switching vehicles, altering his appearance, robbing gas stations for supplies. He was finally caught near Loveland, Colorado, in a dingy motel. Armed, calm, no resistance. They found a duffel bag full of military gear, zip ties, maps, burner phones, and a hunting knife. He had planned something bigger, much bigger. I wasn't his target, not that night. But I could have been. Just one wrong word, and I would have disappeared into that white hell, never to be found. I don't drive night routes anymore, and I never, ever open my door for anyone without a uniform and a badge. My name is Travis Keene, 36, and I've been a long-haul trucker for over a decade. I was headed west along Interstate 94, hauling insulated pipe from Fargo to Billings, a night run I took last minute. Not ideal, but the money was decent. Around 10 p.m., I stopped at a rundown gas station outside Medina, North Dakota. One working pump, one half-asleep clerk, and a wind so dry it felt like it scraped your skin. As I stood outside sipping burnt coffee, a silver sedan screeched into the lot. No headlights. The engine coughed before dying. A man jumped out, mid-30s, sweaty, frantic, white shirt, no bag. He made a beeline for me. "Please, I need a ride. My car just died. Phone too. I've been driving for hours. Someone's following me." His voice wasn't crazy, just scared. Eyes darting, breath tight. "Where to?" I asked. "Bismarck, maybe farther." I hesitated, then nodded. "I'm headed toward Dickinson. I'll get you part of the way." He climbed into the passenger seat without another word. No hesitation. No questions. I shut the door behind him and checked my mirror. The sedan, the one he claimed died, was still idling under the station lights. He introduced himself as Miles. Didn't say much at first. Just stared at the road like it was about to split open. His hands shook faintly. He didn't take off his seatbelt. Didn't blink often. "You okay, man?" I asked. "You look like you just ran from something." His response was flat. "I did." I tried to keep it light. "Well, if you need to sleep, go ahead. I'll be driving a few more hours." "No," he said. "Can't close my eyes. Not yet." After a mile or two, I caught something in the mirror, a pair of headlights, far behind, weaving slightly. I looked again. Same model sedan as the one in the lot. Cracked left fender. One fog light out. "That your car?" I asked carefully. Miles turned, saw it, and said softly, "No. You said it died on you." I didn't say it was mine. I gripped the wheel. He saw the tension and finally opened up. I work maintenance security for a federal checkpoint outside Route 85. Not military. Private contract. Tonight, something slipped through. A vehicle that flagged red across every system. Burner plates. Wasn't supposed to exist. Guy inside had clearance levels that didn't match. He paused. We tried to hold him. He gunned the engine. Crashed through. Took off westbound. Armed. Trained. Someone we weren't supposed to know existed. I felt a cold wave settle in my chest. And he's following you? Miles didn't answer. Just said, he doesn't leave threads. Anyone who sees his face doesn't see much else. I flicked my right blinker and took an unexpected exit onto a side road. The sedan followed. I accelerated. So did he. We need to lose him, I muttered. You can't, Miles whispered. Not unless we have backup. And right now, it's just you and me. I sped through the dark farmland, silent barns flashing past, long shadows stretching across two-lane roads. Every turn I made, the car followed. Not too close, not too far, like a tether. Then, a loud bang shook the entire trailer. I fought the wheel and pulled onto the shoulder. Rear tire's gone, I said. He must have slashed it back at the station. We jumped out. Sure enough, left rear tire split open like a filleted fish. A clean, curved slice. I looked up. The sedan had stopped 100 yards back. No movement, just headlights glowing like eyes. I reached for my phone. One bar. Operator speaking. This is Travis Keene. I'm being followed by an armed suspect near mile marker 142. I'm a trucker. I have a passenger. Please send help. Hold your position. Units are being dispatched from Bismarck. ETA 18 minutes. We climbed back into the cab and locked the doors. For the next 5 minutes, the sedan didn't move, just idled. Then slowly, it crept forward, foot by foot, like it was savoring the moment. I looked at Miles. Got anything to defend us? He shook his head. Just you. Just this truck. 10 meters. Then it stopped. No one stepped out. No engine shut off. Just a hum, like waiting. And then, red and blue lights lit up the hills behind us. Sirens cutting through the stillness like a scream. The sedan's lights blinked out. It reversed with precision and took off down a side road, vanishing into the trees. 2 cruisers rolled in seconds later. Officers approached with hands on their weapons. I gave them everything. Miles showed his ID, not military, not police, but real. Classified. The name he whispered, the driver, matched Leon Hale, a former analyst flagged years ago, presumed dead. But he was alive, operating in shadows, eliminating anyone tied to some program no one would talk about. They took Miles into protective custody. I delivered my load the next morning, but something in me had shifted. The next evening, I got a message from an unlisted number. Thanks for not freezing up. M. I deleted the message, but I never forgot the look in that rearview mirror, and the feeling that somewhere out there, he's still watching.